this. And in business, Gold Board Jewelry launches new e-commerce platform as it expands showrooms across the country. And elsewhere, observer missions call for immediate intervention in Guinea-Bissau following sudden military takeover after the country's general elections. Stay with me for details of these stories and more. Grateful for your company once again tonight. We begin with Insight. And on Insight tonight, we focus on happenings in Ghana's parliament. And Speaker Abu-Baidoo has cited Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin for contempt and breach of parliamentary privileges over Ghana's ECOWAS Parliament delegation issue. The Ifutu MP has also been referred to the Privileges and Immunities Committee following an official complaint by the Majority Leader and MP for Boku Central, Mahama Ayariga. According to Mr. Ayariga, his complaint stems from a decision by the Ifutu MP to attend a session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Nigeria despite a resolution by the House to remove his name from Ghana's delegation. The Boku Central MP revealed it had to take a threat of Ghana's withdrawal from ECOWAS for him to the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament before the delegation was sworn in. Mr. Ayariga consequently prayed that Afenyo-Markin be referred to the Privileges Committee and sanctions applied if he's found guilty.
The Honorable Afenyo-Markin Alexander Kwamena was at that session of the ECOWAS Parliament, attended that session of the ECOWAS Parliament in clear defiance of a resolution of this Parliament. By defying this Parliament resolution, removing him from the delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament, and actually going to Port Harcourt and attending the session, Mr. Speaker, he has clearly affronted the dignity and engaged in an act that constitutes an affront to the authority of this Parliament. And it is time that the Honorable Afenyo-Markin be put in his proper place. Mr. Speaker, I therefore rise pursuant to the relevant orders to make a complaint of contempt of Parliament and a breach of parliamentary privilege, and to urge you, pursuant to the appropriate orders, to refer the Honorable Afenyo-Markin Alexander Kwamena to the Privileges Committee for him to be processed.
So that happened earlier this month, delivering his ruling on the matter in Parliament a while ago. Today, Thursday, Speaker Abu-Baidoo referred Alexander Afenyo-Markin to the Privileges and Immunities Committee.
Having reviewed the complaint, the standing orders, and the governing principles, I am satisfied that the matter raised prima facie implicates the dignity and institutional integrity of this House. Pursuant to Order 34.1, I therefore refer the matter, the complaint lodged by the Honourable Member for Boku Central and a Majority Leader to the Committee on Privileges and Immunities for examination, inquiry, investigation, and report to the House. The authority of Parliament rests on a shared commitment to respect its decisions and uphold the integrity of its processes. Allegations that a member has disregarded a decision of this House must therefore be examined with fairness, constitutional fidelity, and a clear regard for the institutional independence of Parliament.
Let's stay a while in Parliament, and the Speaker has cleared embattled Pandai MP Matthew Nyindam to continue participating in proceedings of the House, at least for now, bringing an end to heated confrontation among lawmakers over his status. According to the Speaker, the judgment of the High Court in Tamale was delivered on November 24, and as such, the statutory 7-day stay remains in force. Consequently, the Pandai parliamentary seat cannot be declared vacant until December 1, 2025. Now, this ruling follows a statement by Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who maintained that the incumbent MP remains in office until all appeal processes are exhausted. He further cautioned that any attempt to physically remove Mr. Nyindam from the chamber would be resisted. Now, here are excerpts of the debates that transpired in Parliament over Mr. Nyindam's status yesterday.
Precedent has been laid and set, or set and laid. So nobody can urge upon this House today that the Honorable Nyindam must have a voice today. It won't happen. Parliament has been properly served. It's not as though Parliament is not aware. Parliament is properly served. Speaker has been served. The clerk has been served. The legal department has been served. So the Honorable Nyindam is now a persona non grata.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Matthew Nyindam, as the applicant himself said, and the applicant here is Honorable Defiamepo, he himself conceded that he has become aware that there is a stay of execution that has been duly filed. Let us allow due process. Let us not, for whatever convenience, attempt to frustrate others.
Honourable members, I listened to the application by the Majority Chief Whip. I've also listened to the Minority Leader. The Speaker of Parliament has indicated to me that I should freeze this particular matter relating to Honourable Matthew Nyindam. And therefore, I'm not going to make any comment on it. I pray that we hold on with the discussion or the commentary on the budget.
This debate ensued yesterday, and following that, after quite a lengthy discussion over Mr. Nyindam's eligibility, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbin, insists that he remains an MP despite a rerun order issued by the High Court in Tamale. Listen to him as he explains further.
The ruling of the Tamale High Court was delivered on the 24th of November 2025. The statutory 7-day stay therefore remains in force until 1st December 2025. During this period, the High Court's ruling cannot form the basis for the Speaker to instruct the clerk to notify the Electoral Commission that the Pandai seat is vacant. Honourable members, it's therefore premature to say that the Honourable Matthew Nyindam is disqualified from entering and participating in the proceedings of the House, because this period still falls within the 7 days mandatory stay of execution of the order.
So quite a lot happened in Parliament today beyond these two rulings that we have touched on. There was also the debate, the conclusion of the debate on the 2026 budget statement. Let's now get over the phone lines, speak to a political analyst, executive director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies, Jonathan Asante-Otri. Grateful for your time here this evening, sir. Now, we've heard the Speaker explain why he believes that Mr. Nyenda must at least be allowed to participate in parliamentary issues and still hold himself as an MP until the 7-day statutory period elapses. Your quick thoughts on that?
Well, I think that is, sorry, let me say good evening to your viewers. I'm of the view that is the middle line that the Speaker took, and it is to ensure that both sides are not unnecessarily agitated as to who is right and who is wrong. And so I was very much glad when I heard the embattled MP, Mr. Nyenda, suggest to everybody that if the Speaker rules, obviously he will respect that particular ruling. And he has really demonstrated that kind of maturity to my amusement, just to put it that way. And so I think that is the middle line that the Speaker has taken, and we only have to wait and see what happens after that time elapses.
When one of the majority leaders, Mr. Dafiamepo, raised this issue on the floor of Parliament, he made reference to precedents. And you have just explained that you think that the Speaker toed a middle ground so as to cool tempers and have a bit of balance of both sides of the House. Do you think that this also sets a healthy precedence?
You've also said what?
A healthy precedence, a precedence that can be referred to.
Oh, certainly. You see, when you look at both sides of the aisle, they appear agitated, but you can see that the Speaker is someone that is highly respected. He's a man full of wisdom. And you see, he doesn't want to appear as a pushover, with respect to the executive. He has been someone who has been advocating for, legislature independence. And so that is what, occasioned this particular decision. And so I think that the precedent has been set. It is to ensure that both sides are well pacified. If at the end of that particular period and the court processes have not been exhausted and is supposed to continue with the pronouncement of the court, he will firmly do so without fear nor favor.
All right. I'm grateful for your time this evening. And let's now engage our parliamentary correspondent, Ibrahim Al-Hassan. IB, quite interesting scenes in Parliament as this issue was debated and as the Speaker gave his ruling. But just quickly run us through what to expect by the 1st of December. We know that Mr. Nyenda himself has appealed the decision. What opportunities are there for him beyond the 7-day statutory period referenced by the Speaker in view of this appeal that he's made?
Well, so the statutory window of 7 days has been provided because when you look at judgment from high courts, you are allowed, if you are not satisfied, to move up to the Supreme Court.
Right.
However, if you are dealing with the election petition, specifically parliamentary, it terminates at the Court of Appeal. And so with the and his lawyers having said and consequently going ahead to file not just an appeal, but still of execution, the provision is that for the 7 days, it doesn't matter whether you have actually filed the processes or not, the judgment cannot be effected. So from now till December 1, as you mentioned, Martin Nyenda remains the Member of Parliament for Pandai. However, if what we have been told is anything to go by, that his application for stay will be heard on the 17th of December, that means that he will cease to be an MP 16 clear days before the granting of hearing relative to his 2 applications. And so the December 1 cessation is automatic. You file it doesn't automatically kick in. Unlike when you talk about injunction applications, that many injunction application is filed, automatically, whatever that you are seeking to stop should be stopped until the application is heard. In this case, unless the stay of execution is granted after December 17, it means that Matthew Nyindam will cease to be a member of parliament until a determination of the substantive appeal that he has lodged at the Court of Appeal.
Interesting. Now let's talk about Afenyo Markin being referred to the Privileges Committee. Briefly, IB, what are we going to see in the coming days? How is this going to play out? Should the public expect to be viewing the processes, or these will be done strictly in camera?
Well, Bernice, there have been precedents. The president will not give many viewers and listeners optimism relative to the outcome of this particular process. Kennedy Japon, Sarah Dwasafo, Henry Korti, they were referred to the Privileges Committee. And then the committee made recommendations. After back and forth, that report became useless. Kennedy Ohine Japon, as well, when he was referred to the Privileges Committee, chaired by Joseph Osewusu, there were recommendations therein in the report. It amounted to nothing. And so the same process. The chairman of the committee, and that is Bernard Ahiafo, will make a determination as to whether this should be open to the public or not. The speaker will have a say in that regard as well. After it's all said and done, Afenyo has one thing. Just go and prove that you should not be punished for what you did at the ECOWAS court in Port Harcourt. If you fail in doing that, the committee will recommend sanctions, and then the plenary will take a decision as to what is to be done. The challenge has always been the recommendations of the committee and the actions that are taken thereof. And so, yes, the determination as to whether you and I get to witness what will transpire there lies with the chairman of the committee and then the Speaker of Parliament. But as what happens to the report is also the decision of the plenary.
Well, IB, we'll leave it here for now. Ibrahim Al-Hassan is our man in Parliament, giving us a hint of what to look forward to with regards to the Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin being referred to the Privileges Committee. If you've been joining us from the beginning, you know that the Majority Leader raised an issue about his participation in the ECOWAS Parliament despite being removed from Ghana's delegation, and the Speaker ruled that this matter has to be investigated further. And so Mr. Afenyo Markin will be appearing before the Privileges Committee. Much earlier, you heard Mr. Asante Otri sharing his thoughts also on the issue with regard to the MP for Pandai and whether or not he thinks that this is a healthy precedent that has been set. We know that this is grounded in law, but he believes that the Speaker of Parliament took a middle ground to somewhat create some balance in this matter, satisfying all parties. We're hoping to speak to the Communications Officer of the Parliamentary Network Africa to also engage the institution on what they consider or how they consider what is happening in the House. Unfortunately, we've lost him. But we'll stay on this matter a while, keep our eyes on Parliament and furnish you with all the details that you need and deserve to know. But for now, that'll be all for Insight.
Mandatory
Thank you for staying on News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo. So we continue with some other stories. And the Education Minister, GHOne Idrisu, is urging members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, to call off its strike as plans are underway to address demands and payment of all outstanding books and research allowances. Now, CTAG members embarked on an indefinite action over government's failure to fully implement the NLC Arbitral Award issued on 2nd May 2023. According to the association, the NLC Arbitral Award is legally binding, and government's failure to implement it constitutes a breach of the labor laws and collective bargaining principles. The association also says it's exhausted all avenues for dialogue and will not resume lectures or supervise students until all grievances are fully addressed. While answering questions in Parliament a while ago, Education Minister GHOne Idrisu urged members to call off the strike and deal with government in good faith.
Mr. Speaker, last year the burden of government on book and research allowance was in the region of some 260 million. This year it has ballooned to 610 million. Mr. Speaker, 2 days ago I met with CTAG, the striking workers of the colleges of education, and I persuaded them to call off their strike and give government some 2 weeks to respond to their demand. It's only a matter of evaluating technically whether one, they deserve it or not. So book and research allowance have been processed for university lecturers. Normally it's a computation of the exchange rate, which is the determination of the Honorable Minister for Finance. I've called on CTAG to call off their strike because in the event that we pay them, we cannot compensate for the time period loss whilst they are not in class. And they must deal with government in good faith, have faith in government. But Mr. Speaker, it's important to add that these outstanding allowances date back to 2022.
The president of CTAG, Maxwell Bunu, joins me over the phone now for a reaction to this. Grateful for your time this evening, Mr. Bunu. Mr. Idrisu says he's met with you. He's urged you to call off your strike. Have you done that? Will you do that?
Good evening, madam, and good evening to your listeners. CTAG members have so much respect for the Honorable Minister for Education, and I would like to say that the 610 million Ghana cedis that he alluded to, it is important to put on record that money, that entire money didn't come to CTAG members. It was money paid to all the tertiary institutions for their book and research allowance. And the component of CTAG is just an infinitesimal amount. So let us not create the impression as if that money has been received by CTAG members. Number two, the decision to embark on strike is by council and not CTAG president. So we have resolved that we're meeting tomorrow, Friday, in the evening, as council to discuss the issue. So council will take a decision as to the way forward. And that will be communicated to the entire nation in the course of the week. That is next week.
Right, Mr. Bunu, but to be fair, the minister did indicate that the figure you just made reference to was not, he didn't speak to it as though it was just CTAG members who were receiving. He was speaking generally to book and research allowances and talking about how much it's ballooned. But tell us briefly, though, your engagement with him 2 days ago. I know that the council has to meet and take a decision, but what is it pointing to? Are you buying into the minister's reasoning?
Like I said earlier, Honorable Haruna, I have so much respect for him. Our CTAG members respect him so much. The challenge, the few behind the scenes conversation I had is about trust because of the way we have been treated in the past, where government will promise and fail. You are aware that today people go to the banking hall, go to the ATM machine, and then withdraw money, and they still have to count. What you put in is what you are receiving. So where our members have gotten to now is about trust because of the way we have been treated. And some have started calling behind the scene that we have gone through the same thing, promises 2 weeks, have happened and nothing took place. But like I said, these were just some informal conversation I had. I don't know how it's going to be like. So we only have to have the council meeting, and I think the council will take that decision.
Finally, before I let you go, the minister is concerned about the ability of CTAC to make up for the lost time, just in the case or in the event that your monies are paid but much later. Do you have any strategy, any plan, if this drags beyond what you expect? Also, because it's indefinite, what is the plan for students who will bear the brunt of this to make up for the lost contact hours?
I must put on record that I am actually saddened, disheartened, the way things have happened, because as a leader, I was working hard to avoid getting to this stage, and I took the initiative and then went to the minister on 10th of February for the issue to be resolved. He's the director in charge of tertiary, Dr. Newman, was there and asked us to segregate the issues into threes so that they could easily deal with them. After we left, and that was the end. When I called Dr. Newman, he just said he's the middle of a meeting, and then that is all. Nothing happened. We went back to meet the minister. At that time, we realized that he was extremely busy, so we never met him. And we left a letter for him.
So is that, Mr. Bunu, sorry to cut in, but all I'm asking is there a plan or a strategy to make up for the lost contact hours that you have with your students?
Yeah, thank you. So that's what I'm coming to, that we try to avoid this coming to this end. But as lecturers, we certainly will make up for the lost time. We have been there before. We have been able to handle it. The student wrote their quizzes and then went home. So this is not the first time. And I'm saying that if we had avoided it, we would have gotten to this table. However, we'll certainly put in a plan to meet the students. The students are in a boarding facility, so apart from teaching them in the course of the day, we can arrange to meet them in the evening and be able to make up for the lost time.
Okay, Mr. Bunu, I'm grateful for your time this evening. We'll stay in touch and get a reaction or response from you after your meeting with your council members, and that was CTAC president telling us what they plan to do after meeting with the education minister over their indefinite strike. Away from that, observer missions are calling for immediate interventions in Guinea-Bissau following a sudden military takeover after the country's general elections. The West African nation has been plunged into uncertainty after the armed forces announced a coup d'etat despite a peaceful presidential and legislative election on November 23, 2025. In a joint statement, election observer missions from the African Union, ECOWAS, and the West African Elders Forum condemned the move, describing it as an attempt to disrupt the democratic process. The missions noted that both leading presidential candidates had earlier agreed to accept the election results, raising questions about why the military has intervened. The observers also expressed concern over the arrest of senior officials involved in the electoral process and called for their immediate release. They are urging ECOWAS and the African Union to take urgent steps to restore constitutional order in Guinea-Bissau. International relations expert Ishmael Holovo joins me. Mr. Holovo, we didn't see this coming, did we? Guinea-Bissau didn't present a situation that required military intervention.
Good evening and good evening to your viewers. Of course, if you look at the sub-region, this should not be surprising because the indications are that democracy generally seems to be on the retreat. But on the specific of Guinea-Bissau, the manner the election process was going presented a lot of worry, particularly when main opposition candidates were disqualified along the line. That is always going to be a starting point for something like this. So while we don't expect to degenerate to this extent, the fragility of democracy within the West African sub-region during this period means that nothing can be taken for granted.
Right. So the observer missions are calling for regional blocs and bodies to intervene in this matter. What real interventions do you think can be put in place?
Well, the call may be justified, but it must be mediated through the very concrete circumstances that the sub-region is in. Remember when Burkina Faso happened, Niger happened, the approach we adopted within the sub-region, ECOWAS, was that the military leaders should immediately return the country back to civilian rule. That approach meant that they decided that, well, they will not do so, but they will be leaving ECOWAS. So ECOWAS and the AU are in a very difficult position to push for that level of pressure to be brought upon Bissau, because then there are other groups that are willing to welcome them and work with them. So in this context, it will not be right for the approach that we have always used, that zero tolerance, therefore when you organize a coup, immediately return the country. I think ECOWAS will have a dialogue with the military leaders and agree with them on key issues and indicators that will allow them to return the country to civilian within a period if that's what they will choose. I don't think that the approach of forcing them that return the country immediately to democracy will be a viable option, given that the context we are in within the sub-region.
Doc, thank you for joining me for this conversation this evening. Dr. Ishmael Clovo is an international relations expert speaking to issues happening in Guinea-Bissau with regard to the coup d'etat and what observer missions have been saying about it. Now, back home, the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana, TUGH, has threatened to strike if the chief labor officer does not accelerate verification processes to determine which union represents the majority of members in various traditional public universities in Ghana, as directed by the NLC. According to President of the union, Charles Arthur, the refusal of GTEC to submit the list of its members of the Labour Department for verification is frustrating members and denying the union representation during negotiation with the Labour Commission and University Management. Mr. Arthur is National Chairman of TUGH. He's been speaking to us.
Until that is done, and we are giving up to December 2025, from January 2026 going, there's nothing that we will hear. If nothing has been done, they will hear from us. We will use the relevant portions in the Labour Act. We are registered union, and per Section 88 of the Labour Act. We will use it. We will straightforward. And we are informing the Labour Commission of our intention, so that there will be no any hulabaloo when it comes to the day that we said we have withdrawn our services.
Now let's head to the Ashanti region, as the Amansia West District Security Council has launched a major crackdown on the use of cyanide in gold extraction. This follows a joint security operation that uncovered 22 Burkinabés allegedly using the highly toxic chemical to leach gold from residue, sparking widespread fear among residents. In response, the District Security Council has begun a district-wide sensitization campaign urging the public to promptly report anyone found in the possession of cyanide for swift action.
Amansia West District faces a dire public health and environmental threat after chemicals seized from foreign illegal miners turned out to be cyanide, a highly toxic chemical capable of causing life-threatening cardiovascular complications, destroying aquatic life, and poisoning farmlands and vegetations at the least exposure.
A few weeks ago, we had an intel that some people are using cyanide in leaching. They call it leaching in gold, that mining of gold. DISEC didn't sit on it. We were able to apprehend about 22 of these people who were using illegal use of cyanide. Sending the various samples to the labs, it confirmed that this use of cyanide, which is illegal, it is illegal. It is something new that we don't do it in our so many years of mining activities in the country.
Residents fear the frightening consequences of a cyanide contamination will overwhelm the already fragile health and security conditions of the district, with particular impact on the children.
As they gave us the danger coming out of this chemicals, in fact, I panicked because they said that even the smell of this chemical can cause breathing difficulty, and we all know when someone has breathing difficulties, what it is. And even a drop of it in water is a danger to our health. And I'm particular about the children because in our community, children also go to sites.
The people should be very, very, very cautious of what is going on because it's a deadly chemical that is being introduced to the community. It's going to kill a lot of people unknowingly. So my message to my people is that they should be concerned. They should educate their children, the future leaders of the country, to avoid losing of lives, mayhem, diseases, and other things.
The development has triggered a district-wide sensitization spearheaded by the District Security Council with technical support from the Environmental Protection Agency and the Asanko Mines. The Amansia West District Coordinating Director, Francis Okra, says his outfit is leaving no stone unturned as it wages a ruthless war against cartels smuggling in and using cyanide and other dangerous chemicals in the district.
Today, the message is simple. We are declaring a no-go area so far as the use of cyanide in leaching of gold is concerned in our district. Going forward, we are going to continue with this stakeholders engagement. After this, we'll be going to Nananum at the various communities. We will be visiting the various communities that are identified. And with the help of EPA and Asanko Mines, they are providing the technical backup that we can save our land, we can protect our waters, and we can save the life of our people.
To assess the level of cyanide contamination, the District Security Council has developed a comprehensive plan to work with relevant agencies to test samples of all water bodies and endangered vegetation in the community. For Star and GH1 News, Manson Kwanta, Amansia West.
Now, in a rapidly changing world where cities rise or fall on the strength of innovation, Ghana's chapter of the World Conference of Mayors is charting a bold new direction, one powered by technology, digital governance and visionary leadership. From Sominya to Tuskegee, a new wave of partnerships is redefining what local government can be.
Technology is no longer an option for development. It is the engine that drives modern cities. At the launch of the World Conference of Mayors in Accra, leaders emphasized a clear message. Ghana's municipalities must embrace digital tools, global partnerships and innovation-driven governance.
The core of every nation is the strength of its cities. Therefore, the World Conference of Mayors' ambition is not just to be a conference, but what they have started is networking globally, and with the intention of becoming a capacity building platform where people share their experience, their expertise, and helping each other.
The Sumanya Tuskegee Town City Agreement was highlighted as a model of what is possible, an exchange of knowledge, technology, and embedding development strategies that position Ghana's towns for global competitiveness.
You go to a state like New York, and you think you are driving through a thick forest, and it's a complete settlement. People are living in that green area. Why can't we have the same thing in Ghana?
Eastern Regional Minister Rita Kusua-Kwete described the launch as a call to action, especially to metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies.
Ensuring that resources are directed towards impactful projects, such as our roads, creating platforms for citizen participation in the development process.
With a renewed focus on patriotism, data systems, digital mapping, environmental monitoring, and smart local economies, WCM Ghana is building a 21st century network of mayors ready to use technology to transform communities and restore nationwide pride.
It's now time for business news here on News Tonight.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Goldboard Jewelry has launched a new e-commerce platform and intends to expand its showrooms nationwide to make gold investment more accessible to the public and boost local participation in the gold value chain. According to Managing Director Gertrude Emefadonko, the company's flagship Goldboard Jewelry tablets, available in 1, 5, 10 and 31 grams, can now be purchased online and sold back to the company as prices appreciate. She says this offers consumers a simpler and more secure way to invest in locally sourced gold. She added that the growing network of 7 showrooms across the country is not only improving access to gold products, but also creating new jobs for Ghanaians.
I'll tell you about our flagship product, the Goldboard Jewelry Tablet, available in 1 gram, 5 grams, 10 grams, and 31 grams, which is 1 ounce. They are pure 24-karat investment gold you can touch, you can gift, you can feel, or one day turn into a custom-made jewelry. But today, buy it today, keep it a few years, and sell it back to us when the prices appreciate. That is guaranteed capital appreciation in your hands. A simple, brilliant way for every Ghanaian to diversify their portfolio and protect their wealth. But today is more than beautiful product. Today, we are launching something even bigger. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to officially launch the new Goldboard Jewelry e-commerce website, jewelry.goldboard.gov.gh. We speak of expansion of showroom, and then we speak of employment, or creating employment opportunities. So the more showrooms we open, the more employment opportunities we create. I'm sure that in the near future we'll be calling on artisans and those who are skilled at jewelry to bring their applications so we can employ more. Part of the expansion process. These are benefits that come with expansion.
Well, away from Goldboard issues, Finance Minister Dr. Kasea Latoforsin says the Bank of Ghana's decision to cut the monetary policy rate to 18% marks a significant milestone in Ghana's economic recovery. He explains that the reduction, the lowest since March 2022, reflects renewed stability, ease in inflation and stronger confidence in the economy. Inflation has dropped sharply to 8% as of October from 27% a year ago. And Dr. Forsin noted that the 350 basis point cut will lower borrowing costs, ease pressure on businesses and households, and help boost lending, investment and job creation. Meanwhile, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, says private sector credit is beginning to pick up as banks adjust their portfolios in response to the new policy rate. And I've been joined by Professor Isumin with the University of Ghana Business School. Grateful for your time, Prof. For many people watching and listening to us tonight, it all translates into how does this affect my personal pocket? Should we be excited, as the finance minister says, or we should have a bit of measured expectation on how this new policy rate will translate into people having more money and spending power?
Well, I think what people should expect is that after a couple of weeks, the bank's lending rate should reduce. The reduction in the monetary policy rate will immediately reduce the Ghana reference rate and also have an impact on the interbank rate. So the sum of all of this is that maybe in 1 week or two, if you go to the bank to take a loan, either for mortgage or for other purposes, you should expect that you pay less. But it's also even more exciting for businesses because they need a lot more financing from banks for their activity. So the reduction will mean that the cost of borrowing for them to finance their activity will be lower. All things being equal, it should help them to expand their production and possibly employ more people. So in the main, it's generally good news for the economy.
Interesting. So you've just spoken about how this will help private sector growth. But let's talk about the newly passed VAT bill, right? There are people who are also concerned about that. How do you think it will interact with the lower policy rates in shaping economic performance?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
I'm talking about the newly passed VAT bill and how it interacts with this policy rate and, you know, basically informing a certain economic performance.
Well, I think we can look at the tax, the VAT, the amended VAT bill, doing about three things. One is removing the COVID-19 levy, which is 1%. And then it is also stopping something that we call decoupling. In time past, in the previous regime, the NHIL levy and the GHOne levy had been decoupled. The sum of all of that is that it meant that when you buy things, you were paying more in terms of taxes. So if you bought something worth 100 cedis, or you are going to pay around 121 or so, 0.9 cedis. Now, that is going to come down by 1 cedi and 9 pesos. So if you are buying something for 1,000, instead of paying 1,290, you are going to pay 1,200. So I think from households' point of view, it means there's more savings. And then also from businesses' point of view, well, note that the COVID-19 levy and as well as the GHOne levy,
right, Prof.
and the NHI levy, is something that they couldn't retrieve when they spent.
Right.
But now they can retrieve.
Right, Prof.
So
too bad. I think I lost Prof there. Prof, thank you so much for your time this evening. We'll try and get more clarity on this in subsequent bulletins and expand the conversation. But that was Professor Sumin. He's with the University of Ghana Business School. Ending business news here on News Tonight. Up next is sports.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And you're welcome to sports, where the High Commissioner from Canada to Ghana, Miriam Montara, has urged visa applicants planning to go and what they work up to apply early in order to receive prompt feedback. Speaking to GH1 TV in Accra, His Excellency Montara encouraged applicants to use the right application channel to avoid falling prey to online scams.
My advice will be for people that are interested in attending the World Cup to ensure that they are putting in their visa application as early as possible. And the reason for that is that you also have lots of third-party organizations that will try to pretend that they can make it easier or faster or guarantee that there will be a visa. That is simply not true. The best way is to go directly to the source. Directly to the source, and to avoid scammers will be to go directly to the source. So putting on an application using the channels of our respective government when it comes to immigration. I rest assured that our objective is to ensure that the process is as smooth as possible.
Let's end on some volleyball note, where coach of Nigeria's custom team, Suleiman Olayinka, has revealed his team came to Ghana well prepared for the World Volleyball Championship. Nigeria Customs female team won this edition after breezing through the tournament and defeating Ghana Air Force in the finals last Sunday.
Every fighters go to war well prepared. Just like in our own scenario also, we are Nigerian Customs, and we are very ready at all time to ensure that we participate in every championship that we are invited, and of course ensure that we make the service proud. So of course we came prepared to Ghana. We cannot travel that far and go back with empty-handed. We have to ensure that we win the trophy. So we are in Ghana. We came to Ghana well prepared for the championship, of course.
Exactly, so they won it here in Ghana, defeating the Air Force team. That's it for sports.
Thank you, Benjamin Yamwa, there with what's happening in the world of sports. And that's how we end this edition of News Tonight. I'm Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, answer produced by Alice Aite. From the entire team, we wish you a very good evening. Stay with us. Get on to starfm.com, online.com for more news, and also on social media. We are GH1 News. Take care.